Hey everyone, so in this video, I'm just going to talk a bit about the past territory event that just occurred, and I guess I'm just going to share with you guys like my thoughts about the event and also some strategies that I try to implement when I play, just because there are some ways to help you with this event that make it a lot easier as well as just less stressful, because I find territories to be one of the most stressful events in the game. And everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information. So in this event, there were a variety of different territories that were available, and the one that my faction, my new faction, Freak Show, decided to sit on the most was Shipwreck. And the way that we decided upon this was based off of a boost that it gave us. So by sitting on this territory, we got a 15% crit increase on all of our weapons when we were crafting. So this works in conjunction with the two other weapon territories of Surefire and Strip Mall. So this just gave us a higher chance of having a crit success. And of course, with the cost of new weapons, especially the new 4th weapon slot, it can be very trying and difficult to get the exact craft that you want, especially with the limited armory tokens that are available. So this here is what Lady Geek put together in order to explain how these percents actually add together. So in the case where we're trying to calculate the crit chance that's increased, we take a look at the standard 50%, which is created by using varnish or polishing kits depending on what you're crafting. So in this example here, I only have one of the 15% territories, but you can see my chance at a crit success is 58%. And you calculate this by taking 50% and multiplying by 1.15, which gives you this 58. But during the event, while having all 3 territories, we went up to 73%. While having all 3 territories, I was lucky enough to craft this weapon with a bonus AP plus attack at the start, and I'm planning on using this on a fast rushing attack team, so I'm really excited. And I was lucky enough that while we still had the territories, I am currently trying to craft a huge bonus to AP when attacking on this weapon as well. So jumping back to the territory event, during the event, we actually let some players from other factions into our faction while we held all 3 territories, just because they don't count the territory event as a faction event, so you can hop in and out, and it was just an easier way to let some other people profit and enjoy the extra crit success, because everyone knows how difficult it can be to craft the weapon that you actually want. So that's one of my suggestions for other regions, that if you want to create kind of an amicable region that can actually work together a little bit, if you let other players into your faction while you have all 3 crafting territories, it can help build relationships within your region. I would also recommend, if you can, come to an agreement with some of the other factions in your region, because these territories can be so frustrating. Having to recover teams, having to attack other factions that you might not want to attack, and getting hit back, and it's a crazy event because you have to hold a territory for 2 hours to get any sort of reward. And I still find the amount of some rewards to be so low. Like for a few of them, it was either 30 cards or 50 cards every 2 hours of either Wangfa or Frost. It was the option of getting 20 torches every couple hours, and just, they're such low amounts for people to be fighting this hard over. Even the end results, end rewards, aren't that great. When it was Red Velvet Cakes, it made more sense because it got you more S-Class items, but now we're seeing 300 legendary medals, 225,000 silver medals, 10 trainer bags, which, to be honest, could all hold Berts because there are no odds on them. I believe it was Atlanta that gave a faction 1 single heaven key, which is just 1 pull off of the stash if you have enough heaven runes. So it was just really low rewards in my opinion. Like, we ended up finishing this event with 2 territories, but there was a lot of hitting and attacking even at the end, a lot of changeover, and it was just a stressful event. So just to go over the couple strategies or tips that I've given so far, come to an agreement within your region not to attack each other over specific territories, because it will just end up costing both factions more energy, more cans, more coins, and just a lot of trouble. You could also look at letting people into the faction that has the crit chance increase on weapons. That way more people can get better weapons. You can look at possibly doing a territory swap, because stamina on tunes is at 600, and after 24 hours you lose 600 stamina per hit, which means it only takes one attack for your tune to become exhausted. And with it just taking one attack, it means you're going to have to use coins to recover a team if needed. There are other strategies you can use to kind of save your good teams, and one of them is putting in 1 and 2 star tunes but giving them reflect damage weapons. That way, if a damage is reflected, you have a good chance of killing some of the attacking tunes. And an attacking tune, when they end up losing, they only lose 100 stamina instead of a 300 standard that most tunes do lose. And the same strategy could actually be used on attack, where you use 1 and 2 star tunes with reflect damage weapons to take down some very difficult defensive teams. Another strategy when attacking, if you take out one tune on the team and then flee, that tune will lose stamina. So against some very difficult teams, if it's beyond you, sometimes it might be better just to take out that individual tune and then fleeing. So I guess the big takeaway from all this is just try to create some good relationships in your region so that you guys don't have to stress about the different things going on. One of the things that I like about these territory matches is that you can see a lot of interesting weapons and interesting teams and tunes. You can see what other players in your region are doing with some weapons. I actually ended up sending out some individual messages to different players regarding some tunes weapons, like Zhai Fang here. This 40% attack doesn't really make sense because she doesn't do much damage. It's all indirect damage with bleed. I made a recommendation for Princess's weapon to be reset just because this attack down doesn't make sense. The HP doesn't really work. You want AP on attacking when you have her, in my opinion. I find it hard to not mention something when I see a weapon go amiss. So like this weapon on Henyon, this weapon can be improved by crafting attack instead of crit, so resetting it. Just because if you end up 5-starring this weapon, you can get a yellow tune, a crit expert weapon, meaning that every single attack will be a critical hit. This next tune is a Rov, and he has a fast healing weapon, which is pretty interesting, because now he's basically just a constant healer. When he kills an enemy, he heals, and every turn, because of this 4th special, he'll also heal 2 teammates with at least 10% HP, depending on if there's any other yellow tunes on the team. So now we're kind of getting to the golden nugget of this video, and it's for the people who have been able to watch up until this point. I know this video has been kind of all over the place, but I do have one last parting trick for you guys, because for the regions that are really competitive, especially if you're in a faction and you're trying to hold a territory at the very end, but you have some other competitive factions in the region, I know it can be very difficult to fend off attackers, or in your case, it might be trying to win a territory at the end. So one of the tips that I have involves contesting a territory, and it is a bit of a sneaky trick in a way, but it's also a very intelligent one, I think, and it requires some patience as well as some luck. But I'm pretty sure anyone who's played this game is pretty used to all the RNG that occurs in the game. So here we have a case where my faction Freak Show is contesting this limited time territory, and you can see that the other faction is at 3,000 over 6,000, and we have 46,300 over 51,000, so we have 17 teams in, and right now they have one team, maybe two, with only half their stamina left. So if you take a look at the top of the screen, you can see a timer for 56 minutes and 18 seconds. You'll also notice that under the words contested territory, it shows ends in 56 minutes and 18 seconds. So this ends in represents how much longer this territory event is continuing on for. So it actually ends in 56 minutes at this point. The top part tells you how long the territory can remain in a contested state. And with these territories, they can remain in a contested state for up to 2 hours. And what happens when a territory is in a contested state? No other factions are able to attack that territory. So it could actually be advantageous if we had actually left this territory and just monitored it, because only Killswitch is able to attack this territory and take out our teams. If we have strong enough teams, or if we have an agreement with them, which you technically could do if you contest one territory and a second territory with the same faction, and just wait out the timer until you're closer to the very end. It's basically like having a shield, but it not being considered a shield, because the actual shield on these territories is only about, I don't know if it's 30 seconds or a minute, but it's very short before another faction can attack you. So realistically, you could just leave a territory in a contested state and then claim it at the very end, as long as you're doing it within the last 2 hours. So I really hope that I answered that properly. If you guys have any questions about it, feel free to ask me in the comments section for clarification. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching and listening to my video.